Hey everybody, it is Tuesday and we are going to be doing a quick review video here to practice for our quiz that we have on Thursday the 11th. So that's coming right up. So I want to make sure you have some additional practice to do the problems that we're going to be, or similar problems to what we're going to be working on that quiz. So your quiz questions won't be these ones I'm about to give you, but they're going to be just like them. So I'm modeling for you as a quick review how to solve those problems and what kinds of work I'm looking to see on that quiz to be able to get full credit for those points. All right, so here we go. So we've got three problems we're going to be working on, and the first one is going to be this one here, 1/6 plus 3/4. And remember, this quiz that we have on Thursday is going to have both addition and subtraction. So don't get locked into the mindset that we're only going to be adding. So make sure that you really pay attention to what the sign is here, what it's asking you to do. And to start off, remember that we cannot add fractions unless we have the same denominator, because the denominator's job is to tell us the size of the slices. And right now these slices are not the same. They're not, I can't count up what I've got because there's different sizes of our slices. So in order for us to do that, we have to have the same denominator. And so in order for us to do that, we need to think about using the least common multiple to find that new denominator. Now you might already, when you look at these denominators, know instantly what that denominator is going to be. A lot of people think, oh, just multiply the denominators together, and that is one way to find a common denominator. But to find the least common denominator is what we're really going to be shooting for here. So I'm going to expect on the quiz to see that you have found the least common multiple, which will be our new denominator. All right, so you're going to take the denominator 6 and the denominator 4, and we're going to make our list of our multiples until we find the smallest, the first common multiple that they have, that they share. All right, and so I'm not going to go very far because we found one already. Right, and so here we go. 12 is our common denominator. So these are our multiples. I'm counting by sixes, 6, 12, 18, 24. That multiplication table is probably going to be really handy right now if you've got it. I do want you to have those multiplication facts practiced, but the multiplication facts are not what I'm testing here. So if that multiplication chart is going to be helpful, then have it handy, but you really do need to start getting yourself away from relying on that multiplication table for your work, because that's one of those things you have to practice outside of class. There will never be classroom time for practicing those math facts. You got to do that on your own. 4, 8, 12, 16. Hey, look at that. Common denominator is 12. So what we're going to do is then we're going to line up our problem here is written horizontally, and we're going to sort of shift it so it's vertical. That allows us to find to use our equivalent new denominator for our fractions. So 1/6 equals how many 12ths? We're going to take that new denominator, it goes down here. 3/4 equals how many 12ths? All right, I'm getting to the bottom of my screen here, so I'm going to shift it down a little bit, pivot, no, up, there we go, now we got it on there. All right, so what did I multiply 6 by to get 12? Of course, it was 2, and you look at that, it's only 2 down, right? So if I multiply the bottom by 2, I have to multiply the top by 2. There's that giant 1 again. And I was talking in Math Workshop again, just a reminder of like what that giant 1 means. And so our fraction here that we're multiplying this by is 2 halves. And since something is cut into 2 pieces and we have both of them, that's equal to 1 whole. So we're calling this giant 1. So that allows us to really concretely see that 1/6 and this fraction that we're developing now are equivalent, because all I did was multiply 1/6 times 1, right? 1 times 2 is 2. So 1/6, 2/12, same equivalent fraction. They have the same value. What did I multiply 4 by to get 12? Times 3. If I multiply the bottom by 3, I have to multiply the top by 3. I wrote a 2. It's helpful to write a 3 when you want to multiply by 3. There we go. 3 times 3 is 9. So now I've got two equivalent fractions. Same value, but now I've got that common denominator that allows me to add them, all right? So I'm gonna draw my line underneath and add them. My denominators stay the same. And the reason why my denominator stays the same is because this is 2 slices out of 12, 9 slices out of 12. How many slices is that out of 12? So the denominator needs to stay the same. I add my numerators. 9 plus 2 is 11. My answer to this problem is 11/12. In order to get full credit for a problem like this on the quiz, I would see the problem. I need to see your least common multiples. I would need to see you rewriting those fractions into equivalent fraction and then add it. The last step, which sometimes you're going to need to do and sometimes you're not going to need to do in this example, is can I simplify this fraction is the question. If it can simplify, you need to simplify it. If it can't simplify, then you're done. 11/12. 11 is a prime number. There's no numbers besides 1 and 11 that divide into 11. So my fraction is finished. It's simplified. All right. So I'm going to leave this on there for a moment for you to write down all of these notes. Make sure you've got it down. You don't need to put this part. I'll get rid of that. But the rest of this is what you would need to show me on your math problem on Thursday. All right, let's do our next problem. Here we go. We've got 3/8 take away 1/3. So of course I'm going to have you try and do that problem all on your own right now. We've got 2 more problems to do, this one and one more. So let's see how you do on this one. Pause the video, do your best, and then I'll bring it back and we'll solve it. All right, so the first thing we need to do is get our T-chart going. T-chart, we know we have eighths, we know we have thirds. So we're going to keep doing our multiples there. We got 8, we got 16, you got 24. And look at that. We already know here's 3/8, right? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. That's the first number it's going to be for both. Because 3 is such a small number, I knew I didn't have to go any further than 3 down because, you know, if it was a larger number, we might be looking for other multiples. But right now we know it was the third. We knew 8 times 3 was going to give us our answer because we know 3 can't go into 16. We know 3 can't go into 8. So there's our least common multiple. We know that 24 is going to be our new denominator. We're going to rewrite 3/8 equals how many 24ths? 1/3 equals how many 24ths? 8 times 3 is 24, so 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 8 is 24, so 1 times 8 is 8. Here's our giant ones, right? If I multiply the bottom by 3, I had to multiply the top by 3. So here's my new equivalent fraction. If I multiply the bottom by 8, I have to multiply the top by 8. Here's our equivalent fraction. Now I can add them. No, now I can subtract them because we're taking away, we're not adding. Make sure you catch that. I'm glad I caught that. So I have 9 24ths and I'm taking away 8 24ths. How many 24ths are left? 9 take away 8 is 1. 1 24th. Again, we end up with a fraction that cannot simplify. 1 24th is as simple as it could be. Here's our problem. Least common multiple needed to be there. Here's our rewriting the fractions, including my giant ones. And here's my answer. So I'll leave that on there for a moment for you to make sure you have that captured. because of course you're going to be photographing all this and turning it in as homework. All right, the third problem, I'm actually going to not show you all of the solution. I'm not going to show you the least common multiple because that's something I want you to show me in your notes. And I'm not going to show you adding them because it is an addition problem. But I am going to do something a little strange. I'm going to tell you what the answer is because we need to do the one last thing, which is this answer is a fraction that can simplify. And so I'm going to let you show me how you got this answer with all your work, but I am going to tell you what the final answer is. The final answer we're going to end up with is 15/12. And that can be simplified in several ways, all right? 15/12 is improper, so it's top heavy. The number on top is larger than the number on the bottom. Another way that it can simplify is that there's a simpler version of this that we know when we look at 15/12 that 3 can divide into both the numerator and the denominator. So the first thing I actually want to do is turn it into a mixed number. And so we've talked about that in class this last week, where we talked about how you can take a fraction that is top heavy, that's improper, and turn it into a mixed number. And there's actually 2 different ways that I showed you, and either one is totally fine. The first way is to search for that giant 1 in there. We know that we're talking twelfths, and we know that there are 12 in here of those plus some. So we could think about pulling out our giant 1. We know 1 is there, right? And if we pulled out 12/12 from here, that 1 whole, what's left? 3/12. And that's because 3 plus 12 is 15, right? So we end up with 1 3/12. Okay? And that fraction can also simplify because 3 and 12 share a common factor, right? That's when we're using greatest common factor, is when we are simplifying a fraction. So I know that I can divide the numerator by 3 and I can divide the denominator by 3 and I'll end up with 1 1/4. That is one way to simplify that fraction, that improper fraction of 15/12. Or you could also take that numerator and put it inside, oh my goodness, that's a 7 and I meant a 5. Put it inside of a division problem because this fraction can also be read as 15 divided by 12. 12 goes into 15 one time. 1 times 12 is 12. I subtract, I have 3 left over. This 3 goes in the numerator. My denominator is in the denominator. So I still end up with 1 3/12 using this other method. So you can divide, or you could show me with the giant 1. I don't care which way. But here we still end up with this 3/12 that needs to be the numerator divided by 3, the denominator divided by 3, and I still end up with 1 1/4 as our final answer. I can guarantee you this. This problem will not appear in your quiz, but I can also guarantee you that your quiz will contain a fraction that will end up improper, and you're going to need to undo that. All right, and so you could either use the giant 1 method or you could use the division method. I don't care which one, they both work just fine. So when I see the problem like this on your quiz, I would want to see the least common multiple. I would want to see you adding those fractions together once you've rewritten them to have the same denominator, and I'd want to see you simplifying that fraction if possible. All right? Not if it can simplify. If it's a fraction that needs to be simplified, you must show me that. That's what I'm looking for. So it's not, I said if possible. yes, it is possible for one of the fractions to simplify. Show it to me. All right. So that's all I got for you today. And do your best. And reach out to me if you have questions. So this video is coming to you on Tuesday, which is an A day. I have office hours today. And I will also, I'll see if I can find another way to get an office hours in there on Wednesday before our quiz on Thursday, in case you needed a little bit of extra support, just like I did for the last quiz. So make sure you reach out to me if there's a problem. If you need some support, I'm happy to give it to you. Okay, thanks a lot.